Hey there, everybody, and welcome to this Monday edition of OutKick Bets. I am your host, Kayla Canarum, and my co-host is over there in Alabama, Mr. Arky Shea. How's your Monday going so far?
Oh, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, 2K. I'm excited for another great week of sports betting action. A lot of huge matchups on the docket already for this week. I can't wait. Mondays are a great day for me. I don't know why people get a case of the Mondays when there's so much money to be made this week.
That's true. That's a great way of looking at it. It's not about what you lost over the weekend. It's about what you're going to make this week. So we're looking ahead. But before we look ahead, we're going to look back to about a bet last night. It is, of course, what happened to us in betting last night over the weekend. Arky, where are you going to start with this one?
Oh, listen, yesterday was a weird day for sports betting.
So weird.
Bizarre day, especially in the NFL. There were 12 games on the docket yesterday, and in 9 of those, the underdog covered. That means only 3 favorites covered. It was a wild day, including a couple of double-digit underdogs that won the game outright. We talk about Buffalo, who was, I think, closed at like a 16-point favorite against Jacksonville. They lost. And the game I'm very painfully interested in is the Cowboys were 9.5 when I bet them last week. They closed at a 10-point favorite against the Broncos. And Pertner got shut out in that game against Denver. They just slowly and surely fell further and further behind against Denver. And it was shocking. The Cowboys had the ball 4th and 2 at the 20 of the Broncos. They went forward, got an incomplete pass to Amari Cooper, and then just never really were in it. Dak Prescott looked awful. I mean, it was a bad outing on a very weird Sunday in the National Football League.
It certainly was. Another weird game. My Chiefs, of course, the Packers, that was not a news story at all last week, came to town without their quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Chiefs 13, Packers 7. I said before, I am not taking the Chiefs spread until proven otherwise, and thank goodness I didn't, because at 7.5, they still didn't hit, as you said. So I did, however, take the under of 48, and that was probably the easiest bet all weekend. This truly, did you watch this game, Arky?
Sadly, I did see the first half, and I thought, that's enough for me.
Well, it was basically a 3-hour first half. It felt like the longest game I've ever watched. I don't know why. It was also one of the most frustrating of the year, which is saying a lot. You know, when you have those dreams and you're like trying to run and you aren't going anywhere, that's exactly how this game felt. We had so many opportunities and just couldn't get it going on offense again. And luckily, the Packers special teams helped us out in a big way. But when the Chiefs did get the ball on Green Bay's 10 from another special teams faux pas and we didn't score, who is this team? I don't recognize my Chiefs. It is awful. It is so sad. Patty and Tyreek could not seem to connect to save our lives. Yeah. Got to give credit to Green Bay's defense. They brought it all day long, and I was actually really proud of our defense as well because they actually stepped up, held Green Bay to 7. Poor Jordan Love. Not the best first game you want to have, but being thrown into that last minute, especially on the road at Arrowhead, felt like it wasn't really a fair shot. Even Troy Aikman said that most 10-year vets don't even want to play at Arrowhead, which makes my Chiefs fan self really proud. But yeah, we're still out of sync. Not sure what the fix is. I don't even want to know what that game would have been like had Aaron Rodgers played. I can't tell if Patrick Mahomes is off or if he's just bored. I realize I'm going on a long tangent here. I just have to get this off my chest. We know he thrives being down and coming from behind, or at least in the past seasons he has. Luckily, we saw a little bit of that in the final play of Sunday's game. The fire was back in his eyes. And that is what I love to see. So I don't know what the fix is. Mahomes just had 166 yards and 1 touchdown. No interceptions this game, though. I'll take that. Yeah. But for a team who is 7-1 and we without their quarterback, I'll take the win. Let's keep it moving. We just have Sunday Night Football next weekend at Las Vegas, so your prayers are welcome for that.
Yeah, 2 positives out of that game. You get the win, and Patrick Mahomes didn't throw an INT. I mean, you get to move on to pay for another day.
One more that I had really quick, Tennessee at Kentucky. As I said, conference games are anyone's game, and that was the case on Saturday. Tennessee, unranked, goes on the road and beats number 18 Kentucky 45-42. I did take Kentucky, the minus half point, whoops, but I also took the over at 57.5, and boy, did that hit. So thank you very much.
I was with you on the over. That Josh Heupel offense is humming, is getting into gear, and they look really, really good. Now they got Georgia this weekend, does Tennessee. That'll be a different animal.
It certainly will. All right, that's enough of a bet last night. We're going to move on to our game of the day Monday Night Football. All lines here are according to FanDuel Sportsbook. We've got the 3-5 Bears at the 4-3 Steelers. They go as followed. Pittsburgh favored by -6 and -2.5. That feels really low compared to games we've seen recently. But Arky, how are you playing Monday Night Football?
Okay, so I'm going to not ignore this game, even though everything wants me to ignore this game happening. And like everything just wants me to watch some NBA tonight and not the NFL. But I'm going to watch the game because I do think there are a couple interesting aspects of this matchup. One, the Steelers are actually a pretty hot team right now. They've won 3 in a row coming into this game. And even though they're not very good against the spread at home, neither are the Chicago Bears against the spread on the road. Both teams are 1-3 respectively. So I'm very intrigued in what could happen in this game. I do not like the total. Consciously, my brain says I should go over it, but I'm not going to pay attention to that. What I'm going to do is look at some of the injuries that the Steelers and the Bears are dealing with, and more importantly, what the Bears are dealing with. There's no Eddie Jackson going to be tonight, it looks like, as it's being reported. We're not going to have a Khalil Mack in this game, as it's already been ruled out for the game. There's no Alec Ogletree possibly coming up in this game, which is a big linebacker hit for the Bears. Mm-hmm. Everything just kind of builds up with a pretty healthy Pittsburgh Steelers team at home to kind of cover this touchdown a little bit more than spread. So I don't love the number at a touchdown because that seems right about right. But I will play a little bit on the Steelers to be able to cover that spread tonight. Even though in their 3-game winning streak, they're not covering by that much. I just think the Bears are a little wounded. They've gotten beat up like badly in the last few weeks by a few teams.
Yep.
And I think the Steelers are hot right now. So I think I'm going to lead with the trend right now, which is the Steelers to be able to cover that spread. But can I tell you one thing real quick?
Tell me.
I've been looking for props at this game all day, and I can't figure out who I think is actually going to score outside of maybe Najee Harris. But it's been a really weird week, right? 9 out of the 12 underdogs covered. So let's maybe go a little bit weird.
Okay, let's get weird.
Ben Roethlisberger, anytime touchdown scorer, plus 1,300. He hasn't scored on the ground in over 3 years.
Oh, my gosh.
If I'm going for weird bang for the buck, I might sprinkle a little on Ben Roethlisberger, knowing that this week has been bizarre already.
I like it. That's weird enough for me. We'll go with it. All right. It's pretty simple for me. The Steelers, as you said, are hot. They're on a 3-game winning streak, while the Bears are on a 3-game losing streak. You've got first-year quarterback Justin Fields going up against 17-year NFL vet Ben Roethlisberger on home turf. Steelers are 2-2 at home this year. Bears are 1-3 on the road, so it's already not looking great for Chicago. Arky, do you want to know a crazy stat, though?
Hit me, 2K.
These two teams have played each other a total of 27 times, the last time being in 2017, where the Bears won that game 23-17. But out of those 27 matchups, Bears have won 19, while the Steelers have only won 7, and then there was one tie. That was wild to me. I feel like I did not expect that. Bears are only averaging 15.4 points per game. Steelers only slightly better than that at 18.9. Bears are allowing 24.4 points. On the flip side, Steelers are allowing 18.9. I mean, what else do you need to know here? I'm going to take the Steelers here at -6.5, rolling with you. But I can also see this potentially being one of those weirdly competitive games. I'm also going to stay away from the total just like you are, because I don't feel like I know these teams well enough to do that. So that's just my honest answer here. Taking the Steelers -6.5.
I think it's smart. Like, these two teams are in like the bottom 8 in scoring in the league, and it's woeful. Like, they just can't get the ball in the end zone, and it's hard to trust the total when teams don't score. So it's even to go under that. The number is so low. I think it's the lowest of the season so far. It's such a low number that it doesn't take much to go over it, but you kind of don't trust these two teams to do that either.
No. Nope. All right. That's going to do it for us in Monday Night Football. Moving right along to our spotlight matchup of the night. We're going to the NBA. We've got the 7-2 Hot Heat at the 5-4 Nuggets. Miami favored by 2.5 right now. Miami's money line -134. Denver +114 with a total of 207. Arky, tell me what you're doing with the Heat at Denver.
Well, I pay attention to the Nuggets, who are 8-1
Yes.
on the under this season. 8 of their 9 games have gone under, and this Miami defense is really, really, really good. Only the defense of the Denver Nuggets seems to be even close to them right now as far as points per game allowed. In fact, it's 98.8 for the Denver Nuggets versus 100.2. So literally just a half a bucket away from being right on top of each other. Denver's got the 27th ranked offense in the league right now, and they're not exactly flowing on all cylinders. As you mentioned, they're just 5-4 on the season. They've had a little bit of struggles recently. Michael Porter Jr., this is what's kind of going to clinch it for me. He's going to be out tonight. They already said that he's going to be out tonight. And even though Denver is 8-1 on the under, this is by far the lowest total that either one of these teams has seen the season at 206.5, 207. So just because of that, and this Miami offense is actually pretty good, I'm going to go over. It's the risk to go over at this point, but it's by far the lowest total. I'm going to take a chance, and I'm going to go over the 207 tonight.
All right. I like that. Is that all you're doing with this one?
Well, if the total was 207 the rest of the season, they would still be 5-13 on the under. 5-13 on the over. That means 13 out of the 18 times they would have played, it would have gone the under. I still feel like I want to take a risk on this one. 207 is a really low number in the NBA, and I do feel like I'm trusting more of the Miami Heat offense to bring it tonight. The spread's low, but I don't feel like I like it a lot. I still kind of like Miami if I'm going to lean a little that way. But the Nuggets, they're good. They're good at home. We just haven't sort of seen it. So I might sort of lean Miami minus the 1.5 tonight, but I'm more focused on the 207 tonight because I think that number could end around 210, 211. We'll sweat it. Don't worry, everybody. We will sweat the number. But, what's the point of playing this thing if you're not going to sweat it, right? So let's sweat a little bit tonight. Let's get the heart rate going. And let's also be very curious when the total is 43 points after the first quarter.
Woke up feeling dangerous on this Monday. I like it.
Yeah. Listen, sometimes you take a risk. That's why it's called gambling.
Exactly. You do you. Proud of you. All right. As we said, Miami is hot at 7-2 and second in the East, while the Nuggets are 5-4 and currently 6th in the West. Both teams coming off close dubs on Saturday, and Miami is looking to keep their road win streak alive. Nikola Jokic, Mr. MVP, leads Denver in points, rebounds, and assists, while Jimmy Butler, Bam, and Kyle Lowry hold those for the Heat, respectively. As you said, Oladipo with that quad, potentially out. Michael Porter Jr. with the back issue. Why can my guy not get healthy? What is the deal here? I just want a healthy Michael Porter Jr. I want to see what he's capable of. And I feel like we still haven't seen his full potential yet in the NBA. But that's for another day. Regardless, I'm going to make it fun and take Denver plus 2.5 because 3 of their last 4 games have been the difference of 1 to 2 points, Arky. So I'm going with playing it close or eking out a win over the Heat at home. There you have it.
I feel like you're feeling dangerous too. I feel like you're wanting to sweat. Listen, let's sweat together tonight. Let's win some money, but let's know that we're going to be in it late in the fourth quarter to get that done.
Exactly. We're gonna sweat out this Heat Denver game. A little hot and cold.
And it's a nice Mountain West time zone tip-off, so we'll be awake. But you'll be all right. You're over on the West Coast.
Hey, yeah, I'm a night owl anyway. I'm up late, so it doesn't matter to me. All right, it is time for one of our favorite segments around here, the betting commandments as they pertain to Arky and his expertise. So Arky, hit us with your betting commandment of the day.
So I would like to say that this program here is actually a tax haven because it is also a church where we come to worship at the altar of the Gamble God. And the Gamble God does give us commandments. And these are not my commandments, even though they are Arky's sports betting commandments. They're not mine. They have been given to other people, and I have interpreted them for you guys.
They have been sent from above to you directly.
It's divinity, really. It's divine intervention from the Gamble God. And he's told us some simple truths when it comes to sports betting. And the
Okay.
very first sports betting commandment, the number one, the one we focus on more than any more, because it's literally the most important one, is thou shalt not bet on thy team. That is a pure and simple, you are destined to smite your team. If
I wish you would
bet-
have told me this 5 weeks ago when I was betting the Chiefs every weekend. Sorry, continue.
Well, you're smiting your team. I think that's what's happening to Patrick Mahomes, is that you've gotten a little too rambunctious on betting the Chiefs and then to win. What you want to do is you want your team to do well, but you don't want the gamble god to come after them. So you sit, you watch your team, you hope they win, you cheer, you pray for them to the gamble god, but you do not bet on them. Now, with every great religion, there are a couple of great workarounds when it comes to betting on thy team. You can bet around your team, right? You can bet around your team, so you can bet the total of the game, so you can cheer for a whole bunch of points or not a whole bunch of points and still have your team win. That works. You can bet for player props inside your team's game. You just cannot bet for the result of your team to cover a spread, because it will come back to haunt you. In fact, I broke the first commandment this weekend. I bet the Cowboys minus 9.5, and I almost got smited by 30 by the Denver Broncos. And I don't know if I'll ever learn, because we are not all perfect. Only the gamble god is perfect. But I try hard, and I will hopefully never do that again, because it came back to bite me immediately. So the first commandment, the most important one, thou shalt not bet on thy team.
It's a good thing the gamble gods are quick to forgive us of our sins.
Well, as long as we practice what he preaches.
All right, that was great, Arky. Thank you for that. We will jot that down and keep that in mind as we bet moving forward this week. All right, that's going to take us right into our quick hitters of the day, where we touch on a few different games that we're looking at tonight. Arky, where are you starting with your quick hitters of the day?
So you know me, we talk on offline on this. This show's only 30 minutes out of our day, so we talk often. And I've told you about how much I like the Atlanta Hawks and how much I think they're going to be the number 2 team in the East when it's all said and done. It hasn't quite come out that way yet. It looked really good early, but they have been really struggling lately. In fact, the Hawks have lost 5 out of their last 6 games. Like, it has been a tough road early on for Atlanta. Now, they're going to Golden State tonight. That's a team that's on a Hey Remember Us revenge tour, and they have been playing really, really, really well this week. Now, not this week, this season so far. The Warriors are a 3-point favorites at home tonight, and they just played last night and got a big win. Normally, I don't like teams on a back-to-back to be able to cover spreads, especially that they're more than 4 or 5, but this is 3. And the second game of the back-to-back is just like the first game of the back-to-back for Golden State. It's at home. I sort of play the trend when it comes to a team if they're struggling to struggle until they bump out of it. That's sort of how I sort of make my money. And I've been pretty profitable with that so far. So since this number is so low right now, I'm going to take Golden State minus 3. Now, I will watch the injury report just to make sure, because those are starting to just now come down. In fact, we'll talk about one in just a minute. If there is a Steph Curry to sit down, or if there is a Draymond Green to sit down for the night, I may adjust. But right now, until that last injury report comes out that I like around 4:30 Eastern time, I'm probably going to sit here and go with the Warriors tonight to beat the Hawks, even though I'm very, very high on the Hawks by the end of the season.
I'm with you. I like the Hawks too. That's going to be a great game. I like your bet.
I hope so. I hope it's going to be a good game, because I don't like seeing this Hawks team struggle, because I'm so high on how good they've been and how well their offseason went for them too. So I really hope for a good game, and possibly just below the number if I'm going to bet the Warriors.
All right. I'm also hoping for a good game, sticking in the NBA. Nets 7-3 at the Bulls 6-3. Brooklyn slight underdog at 1.5 with a total of 215. The Nets are 3-1 on the road, and the Bulls are 6-3. So Nets are on a 4-game winning streak. Meanwhile, Chicago is coming off back-to-back losses to the 76ers. As far as trends go, Bulls have been favored by 2 points or more 5 times this season and have covered the spread in 4 of those games. Brooklyn, on the other hand, is 5-5 against the spread this year. Despite what these stats say, I think I'm still leaning Brooklyn plus 1.5, simply because I think they're the better team, even on the road. I'm not going to bet the total here, but if that's something that interests you, here's some more nuggets. 4 of Chicago's 9 games this season have hit the over. On the flip side, Brooklyn's games have hit the over just 2 times this year. So do what you will with that, but I like Brooklyn here. I just think they're gonna win, or again play it close. But that's how I feel about that.
Yeah,
Any thoughts?
Brooklyn's really struggled to score early on this season, and the more and more games we add onto this, the more I start to worry about their offense and how dominant they can be. They may gel into form, they may not. But the important thing is that, like you said, they won 4 in a row, and this is starting to look a little more efficiently like the Brooklyn Nets team that we thought. They may not be able to score 230 combined points in a game and put up 125 on their own, but they're starting to come into form where 108, 110, that's plenty for them, and they can get the win. So, I mean, all Brooklyn's asking for is to win. I mean, they don't have to be dominant. We just thought that they would be dominant.
Right. Exactly. I'm fine with them not being dominant because, it's too long of a story, but I come from a Thunder fan background, so there's certain people I don't root for in the NBA, and they happen to be on Brooklyn.
James Harden.
I actually don't mind James. James is okay in my book. It's the other one.
Kevin Durant, that is?
That's the one.
The Durantula. You don't like him? Okay,
I've never heard that, but that is so good.
You ever heard the Durantula? Oh.
No.
Girl, that was one of his early ones. Oh, man, yeah.
I just prefer Cupcake.
Okay, fair enough. I like cupcakes, too.
All right, Arky, where's your next quick hitter coming from?
I'm going the Knicks taking on the 76ers, and this is an interesting spot. For the first time this season, the Knicks are playing in their second game of a back-to-back. They just played last night, and they got beat by Cleveland. Woof. Let that game get away from them in the second half. They're going to Philadelphia, where the total was, as we were starting this show, the total was 210, I should say, and the spread was 4 in favor of Philly. But just before the show started, the 76ers announced that Joel Embiid is going to sit this game. So Joel Embiid is sitting this game, and that's a dude who's a legitimate MVP candidate. And I had one way where I was going with this game, and now I have to adjust on the fly. Thanks, Joel Embiid. But it's actually going to work out best because you guys remember the first commandment, literally just told it to you. The Knicks are my team. And so I wasn't going to bet for them, and I wasn't going to bet against them because that's sacrilege. What I was going to pay attention to was the total, which is at 210. So if you can get it at 210, I still like that. The Knicks, the last time these two met, the Knicks got a nice 121-99 victory, and they had five players in double digits in that game. This sets up perfectly for another opportunity for the Knicks to be able to do that, but the Knicks aren't a high-scoring team as it is. So the Knicks, with Tom Thibodeau's strong defense, I think go in, give the 76ers everything that they want, but stay away from the number. And if the number for the total, you can still get it around 210, 211 or so, I'd go ahead and take that now for the under, because I think this was going to be another dogfight in the NBA and in the Atlantic Division.
All right, I like it. And I'm glad that you mentioned the Knicks are your team, because I feel like, as people watch this and get to know us, like, they should know who our teams are. Your basketball team is the Knicks, yes?
Bing bong.
And my team is the Thunder. However, Russell Westbrook is my guy, so now I'm also rooting for the Lakers. By the way,
don't do that. Don't root for another team. You got one team, girl.
But the Thunder have my heart. We're just in a rebuilding phase, and it's a little rocky right now. But I like where we're headed. And I said last week on the show, do you think the Lakers and Thunder could be a new rivalry? Thunder now have beat the Lakers twice on the road and at home. So I don't know, Arky. I'm sensing a new rivalry in the West.
I may have gotten that one wrong.
I think I got that one right. All right, for my last quick hitter of the day, I'm heading over to the NHL. We've got the Kings, 5-5-1, on a hot streak, by the way, at Toronto, 7-4-1. Puck line at 1.5. Kings are minus 120. Toronto minus 102, with the total here of 6. As I said, I don't know if you all know this, Kings are on a 4-game winning streak, all of which took place over the last 2 weeks on home ice. Will being on the road make a difference? That we shall see. They're playing the 7-4-1 second place in the Atlantic Division Maple Leafs tonight. Anze Kopitar is doing captain things and leads the Kings in points, goals, and assists at 14, 7, and 7 respectively. So watch out for that guy. While John Tavares leads the way for Toronto in points and goals at 12 and 6, and Mitchell Marner leads the team in assists at 9. I mentioned the Kings' 4-game winning streak. Well, the Maple Leafs have won their last 5, so whose streak will end tonight? That is the question. I don't want to pick against my team, as you just told us all in your commandments, so I'm going to take the over here of 6. I just think with these two teams that are hot, the puck will be getting a lot of action tonight. That sounded a little weird, but over of 6 for me. Thoughts, questions, concerns?
It's a lot of goals. It's a lot of goals.
I do realize that.
But it's not like we haven't just seen this happen in the last few games for the Kings. So I don't disagree with that too much. I'm just going to let you go and enjoy yourself on the clothing line and be on the wire on your own on that one.
They've been scoring, I think, 3 consistently in the last couple of games, while the Maple Leafs have also been bringing it on their end as well. So I don't know. I'm going for a shootout here tonight.
All right, let's do it.
All right. And to close out today's show, games to look out for. It is Monday, as we know. We have a long way to go until college football Saturday and the NFL weekend, so we are going to take a look ahead to some games that we are looking forward to. Arky, kick us off. Where are you headed?
So, yeah, we're way looking ahead, sort of the look-ahead lines, so to speak, even though it's technically not really the look-ahead lines. We're looking way ahead, and I'm looking to Saturday in college football, which is my favorite sport, where yes. Arkansas is a 3-point favorite at LSU this weekend. Arkansas, with a big win this last week against Mississippi State, they held on, even though Mississippi State, I think, covered the total. Regardless, Arkansas is a team that is, we've seen, battled better than we thought that they would this season. In fact, they're one of the teams that beat Texas A&M earlier this year. So they're a feisty bunch. They're a good bunch, but the spread seems a little low. Because if we look to Baton Rouge, they just had a hard-fought, emotional game in Tuscaloosa where they thought legitimately twice in the last 6 minutes of that game they could have gone and scored the go-ahead and game-winning touchdown. And that would have been huge for LSU, the program. And
that was wild.
Yeah, and for those players, it would have been ginormous. But the week after LSU for Alabama and the week after Alabama for LSU, there's usually a little bit of an emotional hangover game. And this is where Arkansas comes to play nicely. Arkansas and LSU is a big rivalry, a battle for the boot as it is. 3 may not be enough for Arkansas in this game, even though it is in Baton Rouge. So let's pay attention to that line as we get closer.
Quick question for you that has nothing to do with the game you just mentioned. If LSU beats Bama on the road, does Ed Orgeron keep his job next season?
No, but that I would totally like it. It would be a nice middle finger to management.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's a good point. All right, I'm also going to stay in college football. We've got Purdue at Ohio State. Purdue is 6-3, Ohio 8-1. Spread here. OSU favored by 19 with the total of 66.5. I'm sorry, but this number feels a little insulting to me, and I'm not even a Purdue fan. Did we all just not witness them take down number 3 Michigan State last weekend, 40-29, and beat ranked Iowa? Put some respect on the Boilermakers' name, Vegas. Thank you. Sure, they're only averaging 24.8 points per game compared to Ohio State's 44.9, but they're only allowing 18.4 next to OSU's 19, so not much of a difference there. When you get down to the nitty-gritty, though, these two are a little unbalanced on paper. Is it a bit of a David and Goliath matchup? Perhaps, but listen, we all know how the story ended, and we have all seen what Purdue is capable of, and they don't seem to be fazed by ranked teams. So do I think Ohio State will come out on top? Of course. But I think I'm going to take Purdue plus 19 and hope they'll make it interesting. I don't know. I just feel like that didn't give them enough respect. I'm also leaning the under here because 66.5 seems like a lot. Ohio State has only gone over that total twice this year, and Purdue once, which was against Michigan State last weekend. So not only that, but Purdue's totals have only hit the over twice this season, while Ohio State's have hit the over 5 out of 9 times. So still leaning the under here. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think Ohio State struggled the last 2 games to even get close to covering the spread, and this, obviously the total 2 keeping it low. And Purdue's a sneaky good defensive team that people haven't really been talking about this season. I kind of love both those picks.
Ah, well, thanks, Arky. What a great way to end today's show.
Yeah.
All right. Obviously, thank you for your expertise over there in Alabama. We will be back tomorrow with an all-new show. Don't forget to make your picks at fanduel.com/OutKick. Best of luck in your betting, friends. I'm Kayla Canarum, and we will see you guys tomorrow on OutKick Bets.